Everything that irritates us can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Knowing your own darkness is the best way of dealing with the darkness of other people. We cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses. As far as I can discern, the purpose of human existence is to kindle a light in the darkness of mere being. The healthy man does not torture others. Generally, it is the tortured who turn into torturers. The word happy would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. It all depends on how we look at things, and not how they are in themselves. Every form of addiction is bad, no matter whether the narcotic be alcohol, morphine, or idealism. There is no such thing as a pure introvert or pure extrovert. Such a person would be in the lunatic asylum. The shoe that fits one pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases. Dreams are the guiding words of the soul. Why should I henceforth not love my dreams and make their riddling images into objects of my daily consideration? If there is anything we wish to change in a child, we should first examine it and see whether it is not something that could be better changed in ourselves. Without this playing with fantasy, no creative work has ever come to birth. A human being would certainly not grow to 70 or 80 years old if this longevity had no meaning for the species. The afternoon of human life must also have a significance of its own, and cannot merely be a pitiful appendage to life's morning. We should not pretend to understand the world only by the intellect. The judgment of the intellect is only part of the truth. Nobody, as long as he moves through the chaotic currents of life, is without trouble. The wine of youth does not always clear with advancing years. Sometimes it grows turbid. Progressive mental development means, in effect, extension of consciousness. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. You are what you do, not what you'll say you'll do. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Thinking is difficult. That's why most people judge. Nothing has a stronger influence psychologically on their environment, and especially on their children, than the unlived life of the parent. It all depends on how we look at things, and not how they are in themselves. Shame is a soul-eating emotion. To me, a dream is part of nature, which harbours no intention to deceive, but expresses something as best it can. The capacity for directed thinking I call intellect. The capacity for passive and undirected thinking I call intellectual intuition. I have always been impressed by the fact that there are a surprising number of individuals who never use their minds, if they can avoid it, and an equal number who do use their minds, but in an amazingly stupid way. Sometimes, indeed, There is such a discrepancy between the genius and his human qualities that one has to ask oneself whether a little less talent might not have been better. A dream that is not understood remains a mere occurrence. Understood, it becomes a living experience. A special ability means a heavy expenditure of energy in a particular direction, with a consequent drain from some other side of life. If a man knows more than others, he becomes lonely. I regret many follies which sprang from my obstinacy, but without that trait, I would not have reached my goal. The greatest and most important problems of life are all fundamentally insoluble. They can never be solved, but only outgrown. The first half of life is devoted to forming a healthy ego. The second half is going inward and letting go of it. It is often tragic to see how blatantly a man bungles his own life and the lives of others, yet remains totally incapable of seeing how much the whole tragedy originates in himself. The acceptance of oneself is the essence of the whole moral problem and the epitome of the whole outlook on life. Find out what a person fears most, and that is where he will develop next. No tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. Where wisdom reigns, there is no conflict between thinking and feeling. There are as many nights as days, and the one is just as long as the other in the year's course. Even a happy life cannot be without a measure of darkness. Faith, hope, love, and insight are the highest achievements of human effort. They are found, given by experience. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Life really does begin at 40. Up until then, you are just doing research. The difference between a good life and a bad life is how well you walk through the fire. Be grateful for your difficulties and challenges, for they hold blessings. Man needs difficulties. They are necessary for health, personal growth, individuation, and self-actualization. Everyone you meet knows something you don't know, but need to know. Learn from them. Wisdom accepts that all things have two sides. The most important question anyone can ask is, what myth am I living? To be normal is the ultimate aim of the unsuccessful. Loneliness does not come from having no people around one, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to oneself, or from holding certain views which others find inadmissible. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people. When you are up against a wall, put down roots like a tree until clarity comes from deeper sources to see over that wall and grow. If our religion is based on salvation, our chief emotions will be fear and trembling. If our religion is based on wonder, our chief emotion will be gratitude. Real liberation comes not from glossing over or repressing painful states of feeling, but only from experiencing them to the full. the reason for evil in the world